Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Iqbal's Inspirations and Insights with Fahad Khan. Without a doubt, one of the most comprehensive and powerful poems of Allama Muhammad Iqbal is La Ilaha Illalllah from Zarb Kalim. He starts out by saying, Khudi ka Sirre Nihan La Ilaha Illalllah, Khudi hai tegh fasan La Ilaha Illalllah. That the hidden secret of Khudi is that there's no one worthy of worship except Allah. And if Khudi is to be taken like a sword, then the whetstone or a tool that sharpens the sword is La Ilaha Illallah. In a very beautiful way, what he's trying to allude to here is that the core and the most important aspect of Khudi is Tawheed, is recognizing the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that at the end of the day our hearts have to be aligned with the concept that the only entity that we should worship is Allah and no one else, that all other isms, all other ideologies, all other beliefs, all other ways are nothing but divergent from that one core belief. Then he says, Ye dor apne براہیم ki تلاش mein hai, sanam kada hai جہاں, la ilaha illallah. That this realm, this time awaits or is looking for his own Ibrahim, because the world is a house filled with idols when there's no one that should be worshipped, that there shouldn't be any idols except, there's no one that should be worshipped except Allah. And just like Ibrahim alayhi salam destroyed all of the idols that existed during this time, that this world is seeking someone like him to destroy all of its idols. And again, Allama is not talking just about physical idols. Those don't exist anymore. Muslims don't worship physical idols anymore. He's talking about the metaphysical idols. Some of them he'll mention in the following lines. Then he says, Kiya hai tune mata'a غرور ka سودا, فریب زیاں la ilaha illallah. That you have sold yourself for the worldly means of pride. Why do we try to get a bigger house? Why do we try to make more money? Why do we try to get a bigger degree or a better degree? For pride, because somehow it gives us a higher status in the eyes of other individuals. And he says it's an illusion of profit and loss, because there's no one worthy of that attention except Allah. What he's saying is that when we focus too much on the worldly matters, we have to give up on something. People don't make millions and billions of dollars without having to sacrifice something. They may have to sacrifice their faith, their values. They may even have to sacrifice some practices of their religion, like doing business on interest, for example. So he's saying that this transaction that you have done, it's an illusion of profit and loss, and there's no one that is actually worth your time, your energy, and your focus except Allah. Then he says, Ye mal dولت دنیا ye رشتہ پیوند, بتانے وہم گماں la ilaha illallah. That the wealth of this world, the relationships, the kinships, the different ties of bond that you have, all of these are the metaphysical idols. These are idols of your imagination. And we have to recognize that these idols are the ones that are the most difficult to recognize and the most difficult to destroy. So he says, we have to recognize that there's no one worthy of worship except Allah, and these idols are the ones that we have to find and destroy. So we don't get caught up in our relatives, we don't get caught up in making so much money that we forget Allah, we forget who is worth our devotion the most. He goes on to say, Khirad ہوئی hai زمان و مکاں کی زناری, نہ ہے زمان نہ مکاں لا الہ الا اللہ. That our intellect has become a prisoner of time and place. Right? Unfortunately, we can't expand our intellect and our thoughts to think beyond this time and this space that we live in. And he says, if you think about it, nothing is permanent. Neither the time and nor space is permanent. And the only thing that stands outside of this time and space is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, Ye nغمہ fasl gulo lálہ ka نہیں, پابند بہار ho ke خزاں la ilaha illallah. That this song does not wait for the season of spring. That usually songs are sang in the time of spring, but this song for Tawheed, for the oneness of Allah, it is not restricted to a specific time or a specific season. Whether it is spring or autumn, there is no one worthy of worship. That this call has to be made, that none is worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he ends with a beautiful couplet. He says, Agarche but hain jamaat ki asteenon mein, mujhe hai hukm azan la ilaha illallah. That although the idols are hiding inside the sleeves of different factions and different groups. What does he mean by that? He's trying to allude to other metaphysical idols that we have, based on nationalism, based on our family backgrounds, our cultures. Most of the idols are hidden in that, unfortunately. And he says, although the idols are hidden in the sleeves of these factions, but I am commanded to give the call that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah. That at the end of the day, even Allah says in Surah Hujurat, that I have created you from one man and one woman, and then I have made you into so many different nations and colors. Why? So you can be recognized. And at the end of the day, inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. What really matters, the most honored amongst you, is the one who's most conscious of Allah. So in the end, Allah is saying the same thing, that I'm calling out and saying there's no one worthy of worship, that all these groups don't matter. What matters is that only Allah alone should be worshipped. So we hope and pray that Allah's message of Tawheed can be instilled in our hearts, and we worship Allah and Allah alone. Ameen.